We are continuing our investigation into the mysterious investigation of 16-year-old Vlad Bakhov, who disappeared in the forest near Smolensk, during a party of the Golden Youth. The search continued for several months. More than 3,000 volunteers took part in them, and even search dogs were brought in, but the teenager could not be found, either alive or dead. Mother, we were hoping for the first week that we would find him alive here, as the guys said. But even after 3 days, when it has already passed, we realized that he is not here. There was no sign of anything. Still can't all Smolensk blastomeric that Vlad was able to go somewhere and suddenly the abyss. Residents believe that it involved the children of officials who were with him that day, and after the disappearance did not take any part in the search. In the first program, our correspondent managed to get through to some of the guys.
We don't want to meet you, just that's all.
I don't want to continue this conversation. Why should I contact you? I don't understand at all. Don't you wonder where Vlad is? I try not to think about it. I'm sick of it. What can I tell you? I have nothing to say, I have said everything. As told in the previous broadcast, at the party there was a lot of alcohol and possibly illegal substances, and the teenagers themselves mocked Vlad. It is known that after the disappearance of Vlad, the first on the scene by a phone call arrived Deputy Chief of Police, father of Darya Gurbanova, Viktor Demidov. Without calling the police at the same time and without informing the parents of the teenager about the emergency. When we wanted to get an answer to the question, why did this happen? The guard of order escaped from our film crew. Where Gurbanov Viktor Petrovich? He's not here. He's on a cell phone. Another high-ranking official, the father of one of Vlad's friends, Alexander Yaskin, who is also the head of the Titovchinsky district, reacted very aggressively. Askin, all done, any questions, do not respond. So guys, what for? I pinched my leg, it hurts so much. What is the truth behind the disappearance of Vlad Bakhov? As he was looking for, really. Here's what the divers told us, who were hired to scour the river. Our management, when we left here, we talked about our lack of equipment, that we don't have fins there. One flipper for the entire squad, not even a pair, but one flipper. They answered, you go out and sit on the bank. That is, you don't need to climb anything, you don't need to examine anything. After our first program, the editorial office received a call from a woman who was sitting in social networks on April 6 and came across an online broadcast from the party. It was dark. This boy, Neil. My face is covered with my hands. They tell him, did he pee himself? Either they described it. He couldn't have gone far in this state, he couldn't even get up. We get calls and emails from people who are not indifferent, and the behavior of officials has changed dramatically. The whole truth and new details of the Vlad Bakhov case. A week later, Vlad Bakhov's parents and stepfather are back in our studio. Recall that before the broadcast on the central part of Russia Gram Live, the light in the Smolensk region in some regions was turned off. And after I turned to the governor Alexei Ostrovsky in Instagram, light Davolno quickly turned on, as well as by order of the governor was checked, and it turned out that the viewing of the broadcast was almost prevented by a tree that fell on the wires. Let's talk to you now about how the residents of your area reacted to the program and whether they have changed their attitude towards you, because you have been searching for your son for 9 months. Mother, well, first of all, yes, the public has been stirred up. After the program, I think they looked at this situation with different eyes. I think they didn't fully understand what was going on. Someone considered, well, disappeared and disappeared, well, someone connected. And after the program, they understand that something did not happen at all. That this is probably a crime, that children are hiding something. Well, let's remind you that it is not unimportant what you found at the scene of your son's disappearance. Attention. Stepfather, the place of the picnic, where the birthday was celebrated, the glade itself, respectively. Here they fry kebabs, here they rested. We've been living in the woods for the last 3 weeks, sleeping for 3 hours. Days past this forest, worked very closely. Mother, on April 16, when we once again came to search, we saw traces of a caught bike here, and when we got closer, we saw that the word save was written here. As if they did not understand that this is an evil joke of some kind, as if it was Vlad himself who came and wrote this word. Ivan, I know that a local resident called you after the broadcast, Alexander, and gave you some information. Ivan's stepfather. Yes, I called Alexander and said that he suggests which is able to Vlad. Let's hear what he said. Attention, my name is Sanyadok Ivan, and so listen to. Listen, the search area is completely incorrect. You need to fix to go from Small Arakova. 100%. It was the only place they could bring him. You know very well how tracks are covered. Don't know specifically, but look better to what see. I can even guess how they did it. Loaded, drove, then look to what see. They wouldn't have taken him any further. This is 100%. They loaded it carefully, took it there. They didn't even dig it up very much, I think. He didn't, it's just my guess, because they could only have taken him there, that's all. I think so. Just take you there. I understand. Well, I'll check it myself then, because because you know what they are. We need to look there. Just between us. Before this call, you called the editorial office and our film crew. Andrei, we have gathered our circle, friends who usually help. People are listening to you now. Look at your feet somewhere. Under your feet, look at certain places where you can see that they may have buried something like this. We've been searching since the first day of the disappearance. All nearby places in cemeteries were similarly visited and examined, because there might be some fresh burials. Such moments. They could have hidden it among the graves. It could have been anything. Is it all we've been through? When we went here it was already summer, so the grass was above our heads. Now it is impossible, although the grass is already withered and it is hard to look for it, and in summer everything is green and nothing is visible. Mother, grass are particularly being asked, leaves would fall attacked. You can check it out here. The ground is hard. Yes, with roots. That is, if the roots, then hardly. Yes. In principle, we are now looking for at least some details to tell us, so we need to dig further here. Father, yes, something like this. I don't know how long it will take us to dig through everything here. Because there is a lot of garbage here. Father, kilometers are not enough. How much of Dima? 8.5 kilometers, but I think this is not enough considering the fact that we moved here by car. But still, this is the result, which is no, but we checked. Are there any structures there? There are many buildings there. There was a farm there. No, there wasn't a farm, there was a grain farmer. The search did not lead to anything. There is not much time left. I think that either we will continue the next day, or we will wait for new information. But sorry, there's a weird moment that this Alexander Anyufrenko, right? Who called at the very moment when our film crew arrived, stopped contacting you. Well, yes, he stopped responding. Well, in terms of what he said, I said everything I know. One time I still got through to him. Well, there were probably no such calls for all the time, and we also went out and checked. But I want to say that a family friend, Tatiana Lopatina, took part in the search. She claims that the search was clearly hindered by third parties. Let's talk to Tatiana. Tatiana, good evening. Why do you think the third parties prevented the fact that here is to understand where the truth is, where the lie is? Tatiana, one woman who also had friends appeared on our search, and she connected her friends to the search. Those who provided false information, that is, they marked some points on which we walked, checked. But of course nothing was found there. They also provided photos from the personal archive of teenagers, that is, these photos are nowhere to be found, nor in social networks do not have teenagers. They provided us with such photos. Where she got them to is not clear. And there was a group leader. Could you find out who this woman was? Where did it come from? Why is she there? Well, we asked her where she came from, just says that she responded to this situation. Is this a picture of her? It's her, Olga Sabirina her name, and she lives in your neighborhood. Well, she lives in Smolensk. Her friends, whom she attracted to the search, provided phones. Well, he gave his phone number, which later, as we learned, was issued to her. That is, they knowingly deceived us. We were wasting precious time that we could spend on a real search. That is, it is not clear why a woman who suddenly came to help so mislead. So they knew one step ahead where we were. Where are we going? They asked the same way to provide the same. They had some psychic with whom she communicated, asked to provide our selfie photo, and we took pictures and sent her photos. She also photographed us from the side several times. And Sidorina, let's hear it. Our children are not the first time in this place, walk constantly. This is the first time we've been to this place. This is the first time we have been to this place. The other seat was already occupied, so the place was changed every day. Did you come to that place first? Well, you know, we don't have a big city, and some people also communicate and say that on this day we will celebrate here, and they say, well, we will be in another. Vlad was told that Andrei would celebrate on this day, but he immediately said that I had no funds to come and I would not come. Hippocam again wrote to him that there is no space in the machines and no way for anybody to come. All tight distributed, and no one expected that. Suddenly the car pulls up, and at the moment when he bought it from the car, I did not know who it was, and the name I learned when we shouted in the woods, called. Who did he come with then? With Valera and Maxim Jumev. Well, they arrived in a sober state. We got there about 3 o'clock, which means they were late. Well, we just decomposed maybe 10 minutes later. How do you know that he is not in his? Well, I mean, if you say that the first time we see him is a guy, then how to understand who he came with? As they say, the jacket was wet because it was washed when he became ill. Just pour water on top to make it go faster, and he was drenching his jacket, maybe the wrong word, and what they say that they wrote on it, and if after that not even we, Dasha and Vasya washed it, says that we mocked him as they say and emptied on him. This is very strange and stupid, and when he left, when Vlad left completely, he was still drunk. I mean, I don't think he could have gone far in that condition. Probably not. Laisha, do you believe these girls? You know what I'll tell you, Andrew, the fact is that the first thing that suggests itself, of course, yes, blame teenagers, golden youth, call parents. He, as I understand from not a rich family, and as would such bullying, this is the first thing that suggests itself. I think we should look more broadly, and immediately blame the children is not necessary. I think we need to understand what else could have happened. Here is in any case. But let's hear how they explained and told why they did not ask for forgiveness from Vlad's mother. Attention. Today, I read one comment that there was a fire there, maybe they killed it and buried it under the fire. This is how to think, maybe they dismembered it, that's what they read. I'm reading, excuse me, I'm getting goosebumps right here. What about children? Dismembered, burned at a stake, or dad came and took the body away. Viktor Petrovich, allegedly covering his tracks, but I heard that they checked his car anyway. Checked, scraped, well, as their tests there, in the car there, they tested it for blood with ultraviolet light. We have nothing to hide, and the fact that Moscow is being connected, we are only happy. As my mother said there, that one of the parents did not even express sympathy. We apologize, of course, because we are under the impression, emotions, we understand that this is a child, and please excuse us for not expressing our sympathy to you. We feel sorry, really, we do. This is a great problem not only for Vlad's parents, but also for us, our common problem. We don't know what we would do if our child went missing. This is very scary. I can't take her place. I can't do that. It's very big. But I again say, for some reason, somewhere some part of it is sitting that he is alive. We want to address directly to Andrei Malakhov, so that he would understand this situation. So after the previous transfer, we begin to be persecuted and threatened, and we wanted it to stop, and there was no psychological pressure. A lot of strange moments, actually a lot of strange moments. It is strange at the bare place where the guys rested, strange behavior management, and this man who a cop. It's weird all that it's just now showing. It's weird, it's very weird, and the feeling really develops that something happened, girls. I'm not saying that all teenagers know. There are a few people who really know what really happened. It was intentional or it was not intentional, but only one thing is clear. The most important thing is that there is a very big fear. There are people who are very afraid of exposure, very afraid that someone will find out what really happened. Let us now make a short ad, and immediately after that Alexander Yaskin, who in the last program crushed our correspondent's foot, thanks to the governor of the region, gave an interview to our program, which he will tell, as well as divers who can no longer remain silent, who gave them the order to sit on the beach. Once again, good evening. This is a live broadcast on the TV channel Russia. We continue to investigate the mysterious disappearance of a 16-year-old teenager, Vlad Bakhov, who disappeared 9 months ago in the forest near Smolensk during a party of the Golden Youth. All Smolensk Oblast do sih por cannot believe that Vlad was able to go somewhere and suddenly the abyss. Residents believe that this may involve the children of officials who were with him that day, and after the disappearance did not take any part in the search, and most importantly, did not even call Vlad's mobile phone, since Vlad left his mobile phone at home with his grandmother that day. What is the truth behind the disappearance of Vlad Bakhov? How was he really searched for? And for the first time, the divers who were attracted to comb the river break her silence. Attention to the screen. We came here at the request of Barb's parents to search. Here, there is this turn and the hole in the outlet of the stream. Just the stream comes out of the same clearing. That's where they were with this gazebo. There is a stream not far away. And there he goes, and allegedly kind of like a kid out there somewhere and fell in the river back here. But the appearance of footprints on the ground there was no. I went there, looked, was not there. No one there fell off a cliff from this one. We didn't go down here because we have all the equipment and we can't go down here with this equipment. Our management, when we left here, we talked that we do not have enough equipment, that we have no fins, no one can swim on a motorboat, no one has a license. They answered, go out, sit on the bank. That is, you do not need to climb anywhere. That is, you do not need to examine anything. This is our management. Our organization said, all the same, We went out, people's grief as if and biologically, well, because of the capabilities and forces examined where it could be done with our education, well, to stay alive themselves, well, let's say we have one fin for the entire squad, not a pair but one even fin, that is, we can't even go down because of this, take your personal fins and descended the torch, if there is in the river it was dark, we had no torch, at our own risk, we made searches and we have already been fighting with our management for half a year for this equipment. During the commercials we were joined by the divers area of the city Velij Alexei Prokofiev, Roman Krasnoshchikov and Vyacheslav Kaskov. You know I have tears in my eyes right now. Thank you for the courage of some kind of civil position that today. Andrew, we have been fighting for several years. It all started with the fact that we verbally tried to employers and superiors to discuss this problem, but the employer did not go to any negotiations with us, explained everything by the fact that there is no money yet some problem. Especially since even the conversation with the boss had to be recorded to show their relationship, that it was not a kitten that was missing but a person who needed to be looked for attention. Without flippers, without a motorist, we must go, take the prosecutor's employees away, and if something happens, who will be to blame? Nikolenko will say, I didn't send him there at all. At least one piece of paper came to us to go there. There was written, to search in the waters of the two rivers. Read it there about this Hamza. I have a whole such case of Bakhov. To hell with the recycling. We already agree with this. You send us, and then it turns out, put on the berets, why were not the knee pads, put on the knee pads, choked, why was not in the berets. And it will start later, masks. The fins were missing. No flippers have been put up yet. Fins were put up for competition, but no one wants to buy such a small batch. Do I have money? I could have come and bought 6 pairs. So they want to exhibit, you don't work well. As I understand it, you work in the equipment of the last century. At the moment today we have already dropped a message on the phone that from the 19th in our squad is already required divers. In other words, we understand that we will no longer work from Monday. In any case, we have a member of the Federation Council from the Smolensk region, Sergei Leonov, in our studio. Sergei, I believe that your intervention is simply required, because you will agree. I would like to ask you a question. What organization do you work for? Emergency Services. Fire and Rescue Center on the water area of the city of Velij. We were disconnected from the Ministry of Emergency Situations. Well, but in any case I have this issue sorted out, and will apply including the governor. Well, of course you fired well, although it's unlikely you'll be fired if you transfer to will be involved that you hardly can they dare because the next year then they will come and it is unknown whether they still do their work. We ask the employer to explain, what about finding Vlad? About the search for Vlad on the part of our team, this search could not be called a search. We arrived there but we were already ready to refuse whether we came purely for the number. This is a deep river, say this one. There is no spring there during the flood. There are places, that is in April if someone wanted to get rid of the village it was carried away on April 6 somewhere. Yes, with cargo. No, can I ask you a question about your experience? 12 years. Tell me what kind of resource you need to properly look at the reservoir. For this problem, you need equipment and equipment. What is the amount of money? We can't say we don't have that information. I specifically looked before the broadcast. Really, fins start from 1,000 to 6.5. That's how much professional flippers cost. I generally had a feeling and just wanted to run to the air to withdraw money and give them, each on the flippers, but fins are not enough, they have one fin on all. Where should they go? I just happened to grow up in the Smolensk region. One know this area very well, because my daughter is in the village Prijevalsky. And I always came to Demidov and everywhere, and you know it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You know perfectly well that there is one river that is a national park, 40 lakes throughout, 300 kilometers of impenetrable forests. I believe that the boy was very professionally helped to leave. And if it was done professionally, you can't look for it in this area. This is stupid. It could take in the Velez in Belarus, in the same Przevalsk, where the impenetrable forest, where I lived, this is not possible to find. It's not possible. Let me remind you that the boy was not even put on the all-Russian wanted list, so, it means that people who are higher involved in this, we need to connect Moscow, we must reconduct this investigation, and interrogating everyone again, this whole job is pointless. After our broadcast, Moscow, as I understand, joined this case. Under review, let me remind you, just for a second, this is a video that shocked everyone. The head of administration Litovskogo settlement of Demidovsky district Alexander Askin that legs pin to our correspondent Sergei Samarsko not wanting to give interviews and comment the situation after he called the governor decided to accept and to tell his version of events. Attention, came. They didn't greater than suddenly guessing not, though warned, they say a phone call should we have to prepare somehow. Get ready for this interview, and do something with your thoughts, a serious question about the missing boy who was involved, guys, what are all the goodbye? I don't answer any questions, why? And that his foot got in the door there, well, it just happened, I probably didn't do it on purpose. Got my leg pinched or something, if I hurt him in any way, he'll excuse me. Everything that our children told the investigative committee, everything is recorded, all that my child told me, I went there for 2 days, we looked for it and with the rest of the parents, the guys who were with Vlad in the same company, why did none of them participate in the search for Vlad? Why? They came there, they came in red shirts, white socks and t-shirts. I told them, where are you guys going? We came to help, their words were there. I'm talking in the Croatian these. And I say go home. My personal opinion, I immediately said it after 2 or 3 days of searching that it is not here. Or it was so planned and they did it clearly, so that that birthday, children that not just so the person took and disappeared, that he went somewhere. I think he got on the road, got in, and drove away. Alexander G., you're aware that there was a certain video which was mildly. I have not seen such a video. Such a video probably does not exist and does not exist. Our children, I can't imagine, why do we need it? For what? Eugene, as you comment on the chapter, first of all it is of course monstrous and it is just plain to see that he excuses his children. And I'm with Lesha Salyatno. Lesha, I do not agree that, here we blame the children. Children know, children have seen and children have participated. This is pressing. This is such a podrostkovaya dedavshina, when they always from you understand pursue a weaker person. Recently, maybe a year or a year and a half, all these stories about child abuse really pop up all the time. This is a kind of high today, yes, and that's why I suggest that before you blame the children, you still first need to understand what could have been. If it was bad, first of all they should not let him go, and they just pushed him. Have a look. Lisha, you excuse me of course, but this is not today's HYP. Remember the effigy of Roland Bakhov, remember the effigy. These are unpunished, insolent children of the supreme power of a small district, completely brazen. If you properly interrogate children, psychologists, doctors, professionals, they will split. Of course, there is a huge problem: the lack of rotation in the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the regions, as well as in the administration. The lack of rotation, this leads to the so-called Pani fraternity between the structures. This is a huge problem. Then we wonder what's going on and we don't know anything. It is necessary to transfer this case to the Central Office of the Investigative Committee, to the investigators under the chairman of the Investigative Committee of Russia, and to investigate it first, to interrogate those participants for it, and first of all to start with the police officers. I want to remind you that the head of the Demidov district, where the pine of the Urals on the wire and live in this area, watched only the second episode. Alexander Semenov, after the order of the governor, also gave an interview to our program. Attention. At first, literally everyone got involved because in a small city like ours, it's almost everyone's fault. I Dapistam knew both my grandparents, who are no longer there. Yes, of course I was there on Salva. The last thing we did was go and talk to the manager about what was going on. That is, they finished off, in their opinion, the site which they considered possible to detect traces of Vlad. Stay there. We have passed every inch, every millimeter of this area. Are you sure every inch of it? Yes. Absolutely no. Each Vadai is examined. Yes. This is what Salva and the Ministry of Emergency Situations and Divers have done, and no one should even have questions about it. I firmly say yes, everything possible has been done on this territory. I think it is not acceptable behavior. Chapter, I can't assess the actions to Beneva, and in chapter Litovskogo settlement is considered not acceptable, neither as a leader nor as a man. Why were the lights turned off in your area during the broadcast of our program? So let's do this. The lights went out at 5 minutes to 5 in the entire village. No, not everything. 2 attempts were made to activate the emergency lights, and on the second attempt, there was damage near the kindergarten. 13 minutes of the 6th light was given almost all over the city. Let's do one more small ad now. Further in our program, it's hard to believe that there is a single 15-second video from the Golden Youth Party, a woman who is ready to tell you everything about a deleted video after the ad. Once again, good evening everyone. This is a live broadcast on Russia TV channel. Who came home from work and turned on the TVs earlier in the Today program. 9 months ago, 16-year-old Vlad Bakhov disappeared in the forest near Smolensk at a party of young golden youth. The search was conducted for several months, but the teenager could not be found, either alive or dead. The city was abuzz with rumors that the teenager had been murdered, but the highly placed parents managed to hide the traces of the children's crime. There were rumors that Vlad Bakhov's body could have been taken out and buried in the forest. There was a version that Vlad could be taken as a slave and taken out of the city. It was also assumed that he voluntarily left the company and then froze in the woods, that he was attacked by wild animals, but the investigation does not confirm these rumors. The body is not found. The investigation for 9 months did not have any versions or suspects, and 12 teenagers and friends of Vlad Bakhov and participants of the ill-fated party, they all this time keep silent and run from Vlad's parents, and now from our film crew. After the appearance of the first video from the birthday where Vlad tries to climb on the gazebo and several times falls to the ground, breaking his hands and nose in blood, the city began to say that this is not the only video from the party. Several people claim that the network was broadcast bullying Vlad. We were looking for this video, and people who could tell us what was there. Elena Konstantinova is in our studio. Meet her. Lena, I know that you saw the first program. What were your emotions after you watched the broadcast? Rather indignation, sir. Did you recognize this company? And do you even know these guys? No. I don't know them. At what point did you realize that in the month of April you saw a stream video from this party? So I picked up the phone. I started viewing and the video was there. It existed. What was in that video that you saw? In this video, it was dark. Vlad is on his knees, covering his face with his hands, and they treat him like an animal. They remove their hands and do this periodically. It didn't last long, and that's what the girl was most indignant about. The blonde resented how Vlad behaves. No, I'm not. She humiliated him. You're a jerk. You're so mean. I don't remember exactly if they wrote it down, or if he wrote it himself. These were the words, and what struck me in the end, no one gave him a hand. Let's call an ambulance, too, was not there, or take him home. There were no such phrases. I remember that for sure. Why didn't you let us know earlier? I was absolutely sure that the investigator had stolen this video for his events. That is, you didn't expect that this video disappeared from your phones and that it is now nowhere to be found. Yes, I only found out on the transfer that there is no. I was watching the previous broadcast and I had a question. I want to ask Anastasia. There was information that a child had not previously left the house. Can I clarify the reason for leaving? Vlad Bakhov went out of the house. Yes, it was once in January, the only time. We had a fight with him because first of all he was cheating. We thought that he goes to works, and he didn't go there. That is, he went about his business, and he told us that he didn't go about his studies. And when I found out that he was cheating on us, of course we had a fight. I made him do his homework, and he sat down to do his homework, while I was in the other room, talking on the phone. When I came back, I saw that he was not there. I dialed him on the phone, called, and he picked up the phone. He answered me. He said that I want to live alone, I want independence, I will live with my friends. That is, we found out which friends, where he was. Andrei and Vanya were in touch with him, and it didn't last more than a week. 5 to 7 days he was gone, but everyone knew where he was, and you don't think that given the fact that he had previously left the house, perhaps now he just left, you can't exclude this possibility. What are you talking about? He left once and we knew where he was. Do you understand this or not? You are now beginning to say such nonsense. Sorry, we were just told a very important thing, because before that the whole group and everyone was shouting that there is no other video, that this video where he crawls on this wigwam, falls from there and breaks his nose and hands in blood. This is the only thing that happened, and we were just told that there was a stream video. Our correspondent met with Marina Kabiuk with her mother and Elena Mironova. The girls told us why no one called Vlad and whether there was another video from their attention. The only video that was shown in your program was presented, another video about which they say, this is already a rumor, so to speak. One said, another heard, the third repeated, no video was found. Since it was never found, why stepfather says that we have this video, but CO there is a second video where believe Vlad, we have this video, we have 4 to 5 witnesses, why don't these witnesses come too? The video was shot by me. Well, the boys were sitting, climbed on the hut, and then Vlad also wanted to climb and asked to help him climb on it. And as with video inside, the boys help him climb. How did he get down? Usually, he was also caught by the boys came down, then he and what did he do next? Then he would have sat down by the fire. There was a shop there, not a shop, the tree was lying there, a log, as they say that we from there were live broadcasts, streams, and so on. There was no connection, but there was simply no connection. Well, you and your parents once called from there, did you try? Elena called, but I don't remember what time. Says, Mother, we're all here. We're coming home now. And so you know, if you have an iPhone, but it's cold outside, and you don't have a charge with you, and the more so it is a forest, then in any case, as you try to save charging, so you went to the forest without power banks, without everything. Well, I didn't take it with me. Me too. Again, they say that we did not call Vlad's phone. The first thing we did when we ran in the woods was to return to the conversation. We started looking for his number. Well, you never know who else has a phone charger kept. So, and then we called him and understand that it is useless. We decided to see if there are any of his things. We found his rucksack. We're looking at it, and I'm looking at his phone. Well, here's the only way she called her mom if there's no connection. Of course, these contradictions, they are at every turn. We have more than that. On the previous program there was evidence that called from a friend's phone, it is there. So there was a connection, and Dasha called Dad. Excuse me, the chief of police. Next, what do you want to say next, Lena? There was a video, I saw it myself. I can subscribe to anything. Can I say about the video? Wait a minute, I'm very sorry. First of all, I want to thank Lena very much that she was not afraid to say this to the whole country. We have repeatedly heard about this video, that is, from the first day, that there is a video. First of all, the girl Maxim Dumev, who was at this party, she described this video in detail to her mother, told her in detail, described the details, and when we came to this Christina's mother, her mother was already in the hospital. Christina didn't see anything, doesn't know anything. Moreover, Andrei, the first video was given to me by a participant of that party, which, I can't give his first and last name, because the investigation has this information, let them check it, and photos. He said we had a group created where we threw videos from the party. I say, why was it deleted then? Where are the others? He says I don't know. Well, he sent me this video, where it all came from. I want to say that our correspondent Alexei Removal talked with Dasha Gurbanova. This is the daughter of a police officer who received a call and arrived at the scene. True, you will see most of the conversation through a closed door, but this is also interesting. Attention. My name is Alexei, I'm a journalist. Well, I see. Why are you bothering us, Dasha? And honestly, what was that? Well, what do you mean? Where did it go then? Can I ask you a question, too? You can, yes. Why should I answer your questions? We don't want to be on the show. We don't need this show. We understand the parents, but it's the parents who put on this show. Not us. You did talk to Anastasia Andreevna, didn't you? Why didn't she talk to us 9 months ago? She only came to see one girl in how many days? 6 days later, when Vlad got lost. And we, by the way, arrived on the same day, that night to his own father. How did I know his grandmother lived here? How did I know he had a mother? What time did Vlad disappear? I don't know. About when you realized he was gone, or what do you call it? I don't know. When you're on vacation in nature, do you look at the time? Yes. What state was Vlad in when he disappeared? He was drunk. Did he drink anything in front of you? Yes. What did he drink? I didn't watch what he drank. Well, he drank and drank. I didn't pay attention to what he drank. Maybe you just offended him very much. No, everyone treated him well. You can see it in the photos, you can see it in the video that he is being caught. He himself shouted that he wanted to climb this hut. You can see from the video that no one moved away, it's broken, but maybe it's obvious that he's scratched his hand, but did we scratch his hand like that? No, he did. Was he caught? Caught? There is one video. Would you like me to show you? Show me. Would you like me to show you how I am insulted? Show me, please. Would you like some? Yes. Would you like me to show you who it is? I won't, because you know what? Show me, yes. Do you know why? Why? Because I'm a man in the first place. No, wait. I'm a human being first. Tell me, was there a video where? I didn't. Here we had all the videos we have. Here it is video. There is a video in overheard. Demidov, one of you posted it. This video was. You say. That described it, so to put it mildly, and something like that, remember, horror. There is one, isn't there? Show me. It is. Show me. Show me. Will you come to the program? No. Do you understand that this is, in principle, is it serious that Vlad is missing? I understand that this is, in principle, a serious matter, and do you understand this? Yes. That's where he could have gone. You know that. What makes you think I know? I took a polygraph, passed saliva, passed everything. Here it is quite obvious that there was an offensive. The children were instructed how they respond to all questions in a certain way, in a similar way. That is, it is obvious that they were given strict instructions, and there may be blackmail here. All this is not accidental. I want to say that the district police officer, Valentin Kondrashkov, the father of Daniel Kondrashkov, was also at this birthday party. He of course could also run away from us, but he told our correspondents what he had heard from his son. Attention. Hello, Valentin Sergeyevich. I would like to clarify the situation about the Vlad. The guys, something there, took a walk, hung out, and the village has already spread rumors that they are murderers, buried all the cases. That's why. Well, you can imagine, you're an adult yourself. If this is a murder, they sold 2 or 3 people there. There was a company here, probably 15 people, or how many of them there? Well, approximately. Well, it can't be. This is purely my personal opinion as it is. It can't be that out of 13 people, everyone is silent, or something. I can hardly believe it because I have already worked a certain amount of time in the structure. There are even more children there. Adults split up, there's hardly any. And there is a company in general. Your son was there. They were normal guys. Normal guys, all there were in the investigative committee, all passed certain checks. Have you had any searches? Sure. All were held and certain events were held. Why did Gurbanova was not searched? I don't know about that. I am an employee myself, I took part in it myself, and I still carry out inspections on all sorts of orders. Just like that, I went everywhere and took part in these searches. As a person, I am always ready for any evidence from the investigator. Sorry, I have a thermometer. I'm still a little sick. Motivation, we need to understand motivation. Who benefited from Vlad's disappearance and did he have any secrets? Another version from Friends immediately after the ad on the TV channel Russia. Stay with us. Once again, good evening. This is a live broadcast and we are continuing our own investigation into the case of Vlad Bakhov from the Smolensk region, who disappeared during a party of the Golden Youth 9 months ago. The investigation claims that the search was conducted without violations. All 12 teenagers were interviewed and passed a polygraph, 20 volumes of the criminal case, but still no suspect and no clear version of what happened on April 6, 2019. Divers who participated in the search for Vlad said that the check of reservoirs was only for a tick, the entire team had only one fin, there were no fanneries and special equipment. After the intervention of the governor, the local authorities became much more sociable. We were able to talk with them, as well as with some of the participants of the party. They told us how they were looking for Vlad and what could have really happened. We continue to understand where the video about which we were told by a local resident, which shows the humiliation of Vlad Bakhov. Journalist Natalia Leshchinskaya was conducting her own investigation and she joined us during the ad. Good evening. Good evening. Roll out to us about the situation in the city and how in general Mr. Demidov himself can behave, who on the last program ran away from our correspondent at a speed of 120 km per hour. Well, after the release of the first and your investigation, of course, it did not just blow up Smolensk, Demidov. In general, the entire Smolensk region. They've been talking about it all week, everyone's talking about it. You can hear it on public transport, on the streets, just everywhere. Again, I receive calls to clarify. No one believes that Vlad could have disappeared without a trace. We can see that it was your investigation and only your investigation that prompted us to speak. Well, not everyone, but almost everyone. Today, many people broke the silence, except Viktor Demidov probably. I would like him to get in touch somehow. Let's hear who benefited from Vlad's disappearance, whether he had secrets from his parents. Another version from the party participants. Let's listen. Well, I have this version that a large amount of money and drugs. Before that, I also heard that Vlad was involved in drugs and he owed someone a large amount of money, Vlad. And when my mother asked my daughter a question, is it true that you had drugs? And I say, is it true that your Vlad brought drugs to our children? No, not true. Sir, it was true that they were taking drugs, and then there was this moment that Vlad was in severe intoxication and most likely under Sihechesky drugs. But my mother did not react to this in any way, that is, about illegal drugs. If they said about my child, she was under banned drugs, maybe not affirmatively, I don't know, I would probably have destroyed the entire studio there, well, just therefore, and the response was no, therefore he was seen behind it. I study the wall in contact for a very long time today, just about Vlad's story. So a lot of people write that Vlad came to an unfamiliar, distant company, because he was in love with one of the girls, presumably Dasha, the blonde is just right. The blonde who, as they also wrote there, twisted the brains of both him and the other guy, and there was also a conflict. This may also be a version. Growing up in love, guys, this kind of story is very dangerous, so to speak. He came to someone else's territory, to someone else's team, so Dasha behaves, as it seems to me, very inadequately. I understand that it is also hard for her now, but to hide behind the fact that she was dragged everywhere and that she is a person, it also seems strange to me. These children can already be responsible for their own. And what I've noticed is that she's very confident. That is, she behaves differently. Not the first person from this party with whom I personally communicated. I communicated on the phone with the same Maxim Jumayev, very impudent children. We don't talk, we have no desire to communicate with you and so on. Marina Kabiak, which we watched on the video today. Yes, but she needs someone to consult. A few hours later, she called and said that a decision had been made. Attention. Hello, Vera. Hello, Vera. You know, I have a small question. Did you have a meeting there today with the parents of all the children? Can you tell me? What meeting? What makes you think I had a meeting? I've been working all day today. They were seen leaving your house. Oh, you know, I can't talk right now. I'm at work, I'm already, as they say, you know, to the point that I'll probably lose my job soon. Why not? Hello, Marina, hi. Please tell me, what you got there today for a meeting with Askonum and with Gorbunovim? We just decided who goes to the program and who doesn't. Was this a meeting without your mother? With my mother, just wondering what you decided, what you discussed. If not a secret, I was sitting in another room, my parents are separate, so I can't say, that is, discussing your mom, Askin, Gabanov, who else was there? Well, most of the parents. Hello, Alexander Gennadjevich, hello. This is Sergey, the correspondent of live broadcast. Wait, the correspondent of whose live broadcast, Russia-1 promote live broadcast by Andrei Malakhov. Yes, I'm listening, Alexander Gennadjevich. Tell me, what do you have today for the meeting? Was Marina Kabuki? There was no meeting. I was at work at the time. I don't know who was there or what was discussed. We have a Marina Kabuki said. I don't even know who it is, believe me. You tell me your last name. I don't know who it is. Viktor Petrovich. Hello, yes. What kind of meeting did you have today? What meeting? I wasn't there, but Marina said you were. Marina, I see. Marina said that I was present, yes. What was Yaskin doing there? Did you go out with him? I don't know. Why should I say anything unnecessary? What is superfluous suddenly you can say? Gentlemen, I don't want to say anything superfluous. I tell you again that I am not in a position to discuss any issues with you, Viktor Petrovich. Please tell me if the search for Vlad resumes will you participate? Yes. Why didn't you take it before? I myself say again, I took part in the search for Vlad from the very first day. How much? A day, 2, a week, a month, 2 months. Here are the parents looking. They are still looking for the 9th month. I'm 9 months old, and I'm taking part in the search for Vlad. How different. Alexander, what do you think after listening to these beautiful conversations? Yes, well, it's obvious that there are parents of these 12 teenagers who witnessed Vlad's disappearance. Including Gurbanov, I have something to hide, that is obvious. And my personal opinion, as for Demidov and the second official, of course, if they are under the stick, so to speak, they will be such fragmentary phrases and say something to justify themselves. But most likely, in my opinion, we are talking about the fact that they categorically do not want attention to be focused on them. Why do we choose them? Tell me, why do we pay taxes if they don't want to be noticed? We don't choose the police, of course. But by not clever manipulations of journalists, all were brought to light. Only one question about the meeting with parents, what does this mean? About constantly hiding something, they even look at each other when they give interviews. And investigators don't work well. Yes, that's what I was going to say. That is, if the journalists were able to bring to light, then I think it is much easier for the investigators and the police to do it. So our main task is not to investigate this case, but to bring this case to the level of Moscow, to the level of the investigative committee and the chairman of the investigative committee. I have already sent such a request. My lawyers helped me make up my case, so the most important thing here is that Moscow, the Moscow Investigative Committee, should apply. I have been with this family for more than 8 months. I know this family very well, and believe me, the boy could not leave, and we must pay tribute to the family. Thanks to them, they really do not give up, so they are really good. I am the only one, in this situation, even fascinated by the actions of the governor of the Smolensk region, Alexei Ostrovsky, who, let's say, was not indifferent to everything that is happening and what he says in an interview in our program. Attention. Good afternoon. Yes, hello. This concerns you, chief editor of the program, live broadcast TV channel, Russia 1. Ksenia Zotina, my name is. Why do you think parents and children who were with Vladislav Bakhov categorically avoid any communication with the media? As a father of 3 children, I am deeply shocked by this story. The actions of the people you mentioned are their responsibility to themselves and to God. I don't understand their motivation any more than you do. Do you think that the actions of the deputy chief of the Demidovsky district, Viktor Demidov, who was the first to go to the scene and did not call the police, were lawful? And about the emergency reported only a few hours later, in particular, and Vladislav's parents? Logically, of course, it all looks very doubtful, strange and not quite competent. And how there really should be understood by the prosecutor's office, as a structure supervising the police. Tell me, please, how do you assess the actions of Alexander Gennadievich Yaskin, who reacted very sharply to our correspondent who wanted to interview him? After the release of your program, as you may already know, I sent a letter to the prosecutor of the Smolensk region in order to so that they give a legal assessment of the actions or inaction of this official. I am sure that he will answer according to the law. And the more such officials will be held accountable by law, the more such examples the country will see, the more civil society will be, in my opinion, it will be able to influence that such officials, I am not afraid of this word, became less and less. Please tell me, if Vlad Bakhov's parents insist that a search for Vladislav be organized again, do you think it is possible that this period of time, if necessary, we will involve, in a broader sense, the public? We can even talk about officials going out to search for this missing child. I am not an expert in these matters, it is difficult for me to assess, but I am afraid that a 9-month period is already too long to look for a boy in the region. Moreover, there are a number of versions that say that the last time traces of it were lost allegedly at some road, which suggests that it may have been taken from the territory of the region. But I don't want to go into the details of the investigation, because the story is too complicated and dark. But I thank Alexei Ostrovsky once again for his support, and so, if you know something about where Vlad Bakhov may be, we will offer a reward for this information. That's it for today. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Tomorrow is another big story in our program. Don't miss it.